Karen Reed murder retrials in day 20. The prosecution trying to get a conviction for the accused killer. They claim Reed backed her Lexus SUV into her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, and then left him outside in the snow to die.
The defense says there was no collision and O'Keefe died from being hit by individuals, not a vehicle. Reed's team alleges that O'Keefe was killed somewhere else and his body was moved to that front lawn. But boy, Dr. Wolf was such a fantastic, one would argue, witness for the Commonwealth, and you wonder if the defense theory might get a little adjustment. Also today, if you're just joining us, there was a little issue with the jury this morning where they had to be brought in by Judge Cannone one by one. Let's head out to Dedham, Massachusetts. That's where we find our Matt Johnson. And Matt, good afternoon to you. Let's start there with that delay this morning. What do we know, and I guess what don't we know?
No official word from the court just yet, but wow, a dramatic start to day 20 in the Karen Reed murder retrial here in Dedham, Massachusetts. Today started out like any other day. We picked up our badges. I'm in court this week. At around 9 o'clock, everyone was just kind of milling around. They were in their respective places. The defense was here. The prosecution was here. All of the families were in place. We were ready to go. There was a 30-minute delay. There was no explanation why. Then Judge Beverly Cannone took the bench. There was an immediate sidebar. We were informed that there was some sort of a jury issue, and the jury was brought in, the 9 men and 9 women. And Judge Beverly Cannone said this. Take a listen.
So an issue has come to my attention that is going to make it necessary that I talk to each one of you individually over at sidebar with counsel. So that process will take a little while. So I'm going to don't speculate as to what I'm going to talk to you about. Please, when you go back to the deliberation room, talk about anything but this case, and I'll see each of you individually. And the process may take. The cameras will be shut off, and I'm going to talk to the lawyers about whether we clear the court.
So the cameras were shut off and the courtroom was completely cleared, the media, including myself included. We were all asked to not even be upstairs in the courthouse. That's where this trial is taking place. We were asked to wait down below on the first level. I immediately went outside and started doing updates, reports on Court TV Live. When we were all called back to the courtroom, I noticed that all 18 jurors were still there, but there was a bit of a seating change. Juror number 1, who was a man, was moved to the back row. He switched with a woman now. That's interesting. There was no explanation as to why, and there was also no explanation as to why court was delayed for this jury issue or what it may have been, but it delayed the trial by 2 hours today.
That's fascinating, Matt, to know that they didn't want the media inside for it, because we have been inside for different interviews of witnesses and definitely of jurors too when there's an issue, but that is interesting. Let's also talk about something else interesting today. Dr. Wolf on the stand. You've watched so much of this trial, not just this one, but last year. Have we seen Dr. Wolf before testifying?
He is a brand new witness for the retrial of Karen Reed, and one that's been much anticipated. This is Dr. Ezek Wolf, and he had to travel from out of state to be here to testify today. Really important witness for the Commonwealth, because remember, the medical examiner determined that the manner of death was undetermined in the death of Officer John O'Keefe. Well, this particular witness was talking about the injuries to John O'Keefe's head, and he took a look at the pictures. He wasn't there for the autopsy, of course, but he reviewed the medical records and said this on the stand.
Did you have an opportunity to review photographs of a laceration to Mr. John O'Keefe's head?
Yes, I did.
Do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty whether this injury, the laceration and the basal fracture, was caused by Mr. O'Keefe falling backwards on the ground?
My opinion is that that's what caused his whole injury.
Eyes, the medical term for that, sir, is ecchymosis, right?
Correct.
Ecchymosis, raccoon eyes, does not cause a laceration to form on an eyelid, does it?
No.
His experience, he also talked about the fact that he has dealt with patients that have falls, or he's dealt with a lot of patients that have fallen. He lives in Minnesota or practiced in Minnesota, so he's dealt with a lot of patients with head injuries, falling on ice, hard ground, and that's really what the prosecution was trying to establish here with this particular witness. Not a long direct and an even shorter cross-examination. We're now on to another witness, but this was key for this case. And also very interesting, you know, for the O'Keefe family. Peggy O'Keefe opted to leave the courtroom during his testimony. There was a lot of graphic photos shown. The jury was taking a lot of notes, but then she came back into the courtroom. It was an emotional day for the O'Keefe family.
I'll bet. Yeah, it was, you know, just talking about how long it would take to die. And he was very clinical, very, you know, medical expert-ish. But boy, there was some underlying heartbreak there. And to Matt's point, I'm sure the O'Keefes had a tough time. Matt, as always, thank you. Matt will be with us throughout the day, as he always is. He is all over the Karen Reed retrial.